A few days ago, Claude 5 was being called the most impressive AI model ever released. Tonight, people are asking a completely different question. Not whether it's the smartest model, not whether it's better than ChatGPT, not whether it can code faster than anything else on the market. They're asking whether people should even be allowed to use it. And if you've been following what's happening over the past few days, you've probably seen some absolutely wild claims floating around online. Developers are panicking. Founders are scrambling. Investors are trying to figure out what all of it means. And depending on how this situation plays out, the consequences could stretch far beyond Anthropic itself. Because I don't think this story is actually about Claude 5. I think it's about something much bigger. I think it's about control. Who controls advanced AI? Who gets access to advanced AI? And what happens when one of the most powerful technologies ever created suddenly becomes unavailable to a huge portion of the market? And if that sounds dramatic, stick with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you why I think most people are focused on the wrong part of this story, why the business implications are potentially enormous, and why the biggest winner from all of this might not be Anthropic, AI, or Google. Let's start with what happened. When Claude 5 launched, the reaction was immediate. Developers started posting projects that looked almost impossible. People were building software faster, teams were replacing workflows, founders were publicly talking about changing roadmaps because of what the model could suddenly do. Whether you personally think it's the best model ever released yet isn't the point. The important thing is that the market reacted as if something significant had happened. For a brief moment, it felt like Anthropic had completely shifted the balance of power in AI, and then the conversation changed. Almost overnight, the discussion stopped being about capability and started being about access. Could people still use it? Who could use it? Who couldn't use it? And more importantly, what would happen if restrictions around advanced AI became the norm going forward? That's the question nobody seems to be talking about. Because if access to frontier models can change overnight, then suddenly every startup, every agency, every software company, and every business building on top of these systems has a new problem: dependence. Most people don't realize how much of the modern AI economy is built on assumptions. Companies sign long-term infrastructure contracts based on future demand. Startups raise money based on future growth. Data centers operate, spend billions based on future usage. Everyone is making decisions today based on what they believe AI adoption will look like tomorrow. And if those assumptions change, the consequences don't stop with one company. They ripple through the entire ecosystem. That's where I think the real story begins. Because the immediate impact isn't actually the most important impact. The real question is what happens next. What happens if companies start questioning whether they should build entire product on systems they don't control? What happens if investors start factoring access risk into their decisions? What happens if businesses realize their roadmap can change because of a policy decision made somewhere else? Those are much bigger questions than whether Claude scored higher than ChatGPT on a benchmark. And once you start looking at the situation through that lens, the story becomes a lot more interesting. Because I think we're watching something happen that could accelerate one of the biggest trends in AI, the move towards open source and local models. And that's where things get really interesting. Because if there's one lesson the software industry has learned over the last 20 years, it's that the people eventually become uncomfortable when a critical piece of their business depends entirely on someone else's decisions. We've seen this with cloud providers. We've seen this with app stores. We've seen this with social media platforms. And now we're starting to see it with AI. Imagine you're a startup founder. You spent the last year building your product around a specific frontier model. Your customers love it. Your investors love it. Your roadmap depends on it. Your hiring decisions depend on it. Then suddenly access changes. Maybe it's restrictions. Maybe it's pricing. Maybe it's compliance requirements. Maybe it's something else entirely. It doesn't really matter what form it takes. What matters is that your business is no longer operating on your timeline. It's operating on somebody else's. And that's a dangerous position to be in. Because the more successful AI becomes, the more businesses are going to build on top of these systems. Which means the dependency grows larger every year. And I think we're approaching a point where CEOs, founders, and investors are going to start asking very uncomfortable questions. What happens if we lose access? Not because they think it will happen, but because they realize they need an answer if it does. And that single question could change billions of dollars in decision-making. Because businesses don't just optimize for performance, they optimize for certainty. The fastest solution isn't always the winning solution. The most reliable solution often is. Think about how many companies still use software that looks like it was built from 15 years ago. Not because it's the best software, not because it's the prettiest software, but because it works. It's predictable. It has predictable costs. It has predictable outcomes, predictable support. Predictability is worth billions of dollars. And I think that's what makes this controversy so important. Most people think AI companies are competing on intelligence, and I think they're increasingly competing on trust. Trust that pricing won't suddenly change. Trust that access won't suddenly change. Trust that the product you're building today will still function tomorrow. Trust that your business isn't one policy decision away from having a major problem. And throughout the history of technology, trust has often been more valuable than raw performance. The best product doesn't always win. The most trusted product often does. And that's why I think this story could end up changing how businesses evaluate AI. Not based on which model scores highest on a benchmark, but based on which ecosystem feels the safest to build on. And that's where open source AI enters the picture. Because every time something like this happens, people start asking the same question. What can I control myself? What's the appeal of open source? Not necessarily that it's smarter, not necessarily that it's cheaper, but that it's yours. You control the infrastructure. You control the deployment. You control updates. You control access. Nobody can suddenly change the rules on you. Nobody can suddenly decide whether you're allowed to use it. And for founders building long-term businesses, that's incredibly attractive, especially when millions of dollars are on the line. Now, does that mean frontier models disappear? Of course not. I think Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, and all the other major labs are still going to build incredible technology. In fact, I think the next few years are going to produce models that make today's systems look primitive. But I do think this changes the conversation because every major technology wave eventually creates two camps: the people who optimize for capability and the people who optimize for control. Cloud computing created this split. Mobile platforms created this split. Social media platforms created this split. And now AI is creating this split. The smartest organizations will probably use both. They'll use frontier models where the benefits outweigh the risks, and then they'll use local open source systems where control matters more. But the organizations that fail to think about the trade-off at all may find themselves exposed. Because the larger AI becomes, the more it starts resembling infrastructure. And infrastructure gets evaluated differently than software. When AI was a novelty, people asked, what can it do? Now they're starting to ask, can we depend on it? Those are completely different questions. And I think that's why this controversy matters. Not because of what happened this week, because of what conversations it creates over the next few years. A founder may decide to diversify their AI stack. An enterprise team may decide to evaluate open source alternatives. An investor may begin pricing platform risk into their decisions. And when enough people make those decisions, markets change. Entire industries change. That's how technology shifts actually happen. Not overnight, but through thousands of small decisions made by people responding to new incentives. Which is why I think most people are missing the bigger picture. They're arguing about Claude versus GPT, Anthropic versus OpenAI, model versus model. But that's not the real debate. The real debate is who controls the future of AI, who controls access, who controls infrastructure, who controls the actual rules. Because the benchmarks don't determine markets. Incentives determine markets. Risk determines markets. Control determines markets. And right now, those questions are moving towards the center of the conversation. So yes, this story started with Claude 5, but I don't think it ends with Claude 5. I think we're watching the beginning of a much larger debate about access, ownership, control, and the future structure of the AI economy. And if this is true, then the biggest impact of this controversy won't be what happened this week. It'll be the decisions that businesses, investors, governments, and developers make because of it over the next decade. And those decisions could end up shaping the future of AI far more than any benchmark ever will. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're looking to learn more about AI, check the description. We have a link to a community. I'll see you there.